WordPress, the most popular platform for creating and hosting websites on the internet, is facing a heated controversy these days. The fight is escalating between WordPress founder and Automattic CEO Matt Mullenweg and WP Engine, a hosting platform designed for WordPress websites. WP Engine took legal action against WordPress for allegedly breaking its promise to run the platform as open source, stating, "Matt Mullenweg's conduct over the last 10 days has exposed significant conflicts of interest and governance issues that, if left unchecked, threaten to destroy that trust." WordPress is an open source and free project which hosts around 40% of websites. Although websites can host their own WordPress version, they can use a solution provider like Automattic or WP Engine for a plug-and-play solution. Mullenweg, in one of his blog posts called WP Engine, a cancer to WordPress, he accused the platform of disabling the ability for users to track the revision history for a post. Mullenweg criticizes WP Engine for turning the feature of protecting users' data off by default to save money. The founder of WordPress does not stop here. He is also not satisfied with the performance of WP Engine and complains that WP Engine's use of the WP brand has confused the users by posing as if they are part of WordPress. Also, he aims to take a scorched earth nuclear approach against WP Engine unless it agrees to pay a significant percentage of its revenues for a license to the WordPress trademark. In response, WP Engine disagreed with Mullenweg and Automattic and asked them to withdraw their comments and defended that they used the WordPress trademark fairly. However, Automattic did not accept their explanation and maintained the WP Engine had breached WordPress and WooCommerce trademark usage rules. The WordPress has changed its trademark policy page and updated it in the following words. The abbreviation WP is not covered by the WordPress trademarks, but please don't use it in a way that confuses me. For example, many people think WP Engine is WordPress Engine and officially associated with WordPress, which it's not. They have never once even donated to the WordPress Foundation, despite making billions of revenues on top of WordPress. Later on, Mullenweg banned WP Engine, preventing them from accessing the sources of WordPress.org. However, WP Engine will have to run a service to fetch elements like plugins and themes because they come under open source license. Nevertheless, this ban was not good for WordPress customers, especially for small websites, because these websites could not update plugins and themes and became vulnerable to security attacks leaving their companies. After all this, WP Engine accused Mullenweg of misusing his control of WordPress to interfere with WP Engine users' access to WordPress.org and came up with the following response. Matt Mullenweg's unprecedented and unwarranted action interferes with the normal operation of the entire WordPress ecosystem, impacting not just WP Engine and our customers, but all WordPress plugin developers and open source users who depend on WP Engine tools like this. This softened the Mullenweg stance over banning WP Engine from WordPress.org, lifted the ban to forever, and allowed WP Engine to access resources to tell it to talk first. Afterwards, Mullenweg further clarifies his stance, saying, "The fight is only against WP Engine as a trademark, and they are just trying to broker a trademark licensing deal for a long time. WP Engine's only response has been to string us along." In response, WP Engine updated its site's footer on September 30th, the day before the WordPress.org deadline for the ban on WP Engine. It clarified that they are directly affiliated with the WordPress Foundation or own the WordPress trade. The updated description runs as follows. WP Engine is a proud member and supporter of the community of WordPress users. The WordPress trademark is the intellectual property of the WordPress Foundation, and the Woo and WooCommerce trademarks are the intellectual property of WooCommerce Inc. Uses of the WordPress, Woo, and WooCommerce names in this website are for identification purposes only and do not imply an endorsement by WordPress Foundation or WooCommerce Inc. WP Engine is not endorsed or owned by or affiliated with the WordPress Foundation. WP Engine came up with new names for their plans. They changed the names from Essential WordPress, Core WordPress, and Enterprise WordPress to Essential, Core, and Enterprise. This shows WP Engine is ready to change its rules and regulations to respond to automatic accusations of unravels. As we see in the following statement, rest of the WordPress market, use the WordPress mark to describe our business. Automatic's suggestion that WP needs a license to do that is simply wrong and reflects a misunderstanding of trademark law. To moot its claimed concerns, we have eliminated the few examples Automatic gave in its September 23rd letter to us. All this controversy and chaos between WordPress and WP Engine has negatively impacted the other projects and companies associated with the WordPress Foundation. They want to know about the stance of Automatic about how they can or can't use WordPress. Managed WordPress, hosted WordPress, developers and providers have filed for WordPress trademark, and they are worried that these trademarks could be used against them. Developers are concerned about their access going away quickly while they are relying on commercial open source products related to WordPress. John O'Nolan, an open source content management system for Struts Ghost's founder, also criticized Mullenweg for controlling WordPress. He says, "The web needs more independent organizations and it needs more diversity. 40% of the web and 80% of the CMS market should not be controlled by any one individual." David Heinemeier Harrison, creator of the framework Ruby and Rails strengths, is not happy with Automatic and thinks that it is violating the rules of open source software by making WP Engine pay 8% of its revenues. He expresses his concern in the following words: "Automatic is completely out of line, and the potential damage to the open source world extends far beyond the WordPress. You might be curious about the safety of using WP Engine. Here's my perspective on the matter. I don't foresee any further downtime or performance issues with WP Engine due to the ongoing lawsuit or related events. WordPress is open source software licensed under the General Public License, allowing anyone to modify and use it for nearly any purpose. No one can prevent you, your clients, or WP Engine from using or distributing the WordPress code. Recently, there was a problem where updates for WordPress plugins, which were provided through a server controlled by Mullenweg, stopped working for WP Engine customers when Mullenweg restricted access. This issue has now been resolved. WP Engine can legally copy and host all open source WordPress plugins on their servers, so they don't need to rely on Mullenweg's server anymore. Over the past year, we've seen an increase in what I would call aggressive sales emails from WP Engine directed at our clients. It seems to be an effort to boost the company's profits, which can be frustrating for customers who are unsure if they actually need to upgrade when contacted by a salesperson. Generally, I advise that customers do not need to upgrade to a higher plan, despite what the salesperson suggests, although some upgrades may offer benefits. While this change in approach is disappointing, especially given WP Engine's strong customer service history over the past decade, it's important to note that switching to another host may not guarantee a different experience. The web hosting industry is highly competitive and low margin, making such practices common across various providers. Although this situation could change in the future, I believe the costs associated with switching hosts currently outweigh any potential benefits. Now, the most important question is, can you still use WordPress? The answer is yes. WordPress remains open source and, in my opinion, continues to be the best content management system for most of my clients. Even if contributions to the project slow down, it will take years for any significant changes to occur. I believe the value of WordPress as a content management system is so high that the project would persist even if both Automatic and WP Engine cease to exist. There is currently no better alternative, and having high-quality, open-source software for website development is invaluable. Additionally, even if all WordPress companies and contributors disappeared tomorrow, you would still have unrestricted access to use and modify all WordPress code, since it is permanently free and open source. Let's briefly talk about the root cause of the controversy between WordPress and WP Engine. WP Engine has sued Mullenweg and Automatic for attempted extortion, among other claims. This stems from Mullenweg demanding that WP Engine pay an 8% trademark licensing fee to Automatic, threatening to publicly mock them if they refused. In one public letter, he requested about 8% of WP Engine's revenue, or an equivalent amount of employee programming time, for at least the next 7 years. We'll see how the courts respond. WP Engine argues that they haven't violated the WordPress trademark and that Mullenweg's actions were an illegal attempt at extortion. Based on what I know, WP Engine likely has a strong case for fair use concerning their use of WordPress. There is no dispute that Mullenweg demanded payment and then publicly criticized WP Engine. The court's decision will be interesting, but it shouldn't affect your website decisions in the short term. The question is how long this will take to resolve. If the case goes to court, it could take years. However, two scenarios might resolve this sooner. 1. A private out-of-court settlement is reached. 2. A judge rules that WP Engine is not violating the WordPress trademark. WP Engine has requested a quick decision on this matter before the full case proceeds. If it goes to trial, a jury could award damages. While juries sometimes grant large sums, appellate judges often reduce these amounts later. Overall, a jury trial and any appeals could take years. I think it's unlikely this case will bankrupt Mullenweg or Automatic, and WP Engine is not at significant risk, besides covering its legal fees. For WP Engine to be in danger, someone would need to sue them for trademark infringement, which hasn't happened so far. The ongoing lawsuit between WP Engine and Automatic, co-founded by Matt Mullenweg, has generated considerable interest and concern within the WordPress community. The conflict intensified in late September 2024 when Matt Mullenweg publicly criticized WP Engine, calling it a cancer to WordPress. This statement reflected broader concerns about WP Engine's contributions to the WordPress ecosystem and its alleged misuse of WordPress trademarks. WP Engine responded with a cease and desist letter claiming Mullenweg's allegations were baseless and damaging. Here are some key events leading to the lawsuit include: 1. Cease and desist letters. Following Mullenweg's remarks,